Welcome to this special show on sports today with a number of my colleagues and people who follow the women's game closely. They have reported, for a long, long time on the women's game. Even yesterday, all of them were very vocal, and that is why all of them are here. The question that we are asking, and we will ask a number of questions on this show: has the Neetu David selection committee lost credibility? What does this mean? Yesterday, we have seen the team selection, wholesale changes from the South Africa team. So clearly, the South Africa team was not good enough, and that is now proven. Whose fault is that? You have sacked a coach because of that one performance. The same coach had taken you to a World Cup final. You have sacked him based on that one series performance. Did he or can he be made responsible, or was the selection committee responsible? Why should no questions be asked of the selection committee by Saurav and his team? Should there be questions? Is there accountability? Is the system rotten? Joining me, Yash Lahoti, founder and face of Women's Crick Zone, Kushan Sharkar, senior writer, one of the most vocal from yesterday onwards from the Press Trust of India, Oroni Basu, senior journalist from the Times of India, who has written, tweeted multiple times. So important voices, strong voices. Yash, I will start with you. Straight question. After seeing the selection yesterday, what are your first thoughts? Does it prove that the South Africa selection was a howler, and has Neetu David's committee lost credibility?
I think so. Yes, we spoke about this during the South Africa series also. That the South Africa series, the selections were very doubtful. Why were a few players selected? Why were a few players dropped? We spoke even at that point in time, and I think so. That's proven now that yes, they made a mistake. They made lots of mistake, and they've now tried to correct it. uh, why has the changes happened? Is it because of all the news that came out yesterday? Is it because they really felt that yes, they made a mistake and they were accountable and they tried to correct their mistake? Anything and everything, but yes, now what we have is a good team playing against England. So
Okay.
yes, I'm not sure about the credibility aspect, because yes, these are senior former cricketers, have played for India. They know the system, everything, and they can definitely play their part in selecting the right team. But yes, all of them need to be held accountable, and that is what we all in the system are trying.
Okay. Kushan, if I can come to you on that, clearly the selectors, yesterday the team that they selected is a superb team. They have indeed got it right. Now the question is, they got a chance to redeem themselves. They could correct their mistake. W.V. Raman did not. W.V. Raman, for the same mistake, frankly, he was not responsible for the team that played against South Africa, has been humiliated. In his own words, we have seen the letter. In his own words, he's talking about a smear campaign against him, humiliated, insulted, removed. The same yardstick does not apply for the selectors. They got a chance and they've got a. So, your thoughts on that? Have they lost credibility?
Uh, I absolutely agree with you. Like Yash said that very correctly. Yash said that they have done a course correction, which was necessary. But at the same time, at what cost that course correction has come, you have to see. You have had to had a sitting president oversee what they are doing. Had it not been that BCCI President Saurav Ganguly had taken active interest in this team selection and what they are up to and how the team selection is happening, mind it, last time when it was happening, Saurav Ganguly's health was not up to the mark. When the South Africa team was selected, he was resting at home. He was advised by the doctor not to take a lot of pressure. But this time, he actively took interest in what was happening, checked everything, vetted the names, and I believe that's why it's happening. I'm not saying, to be fair, probably had active interest not been taken by the top echelons of the BCCI, there would have been some dubious selections this time also. Because if you ask me, I have no belief or faith in this selection committee.
Already, you have been very vocal on Twitter and on social media. Your thoughts, I mean, from yesterday, what you have seen transpiring, your thoughts on the whole situation?
See, everything boils down to transparency here. Oh, there's been an excuse given that the girls did not play for a year, and the lockdown had impacted their performances. Everything's fine with that. But the thing is that what has the selection committee doing? There has been a structure for men's cricket when every player has been monitored what they were doing right through the lockdown. So on what basis were Shefali and Shikha Pandey dropped at that time? Had they checked with their state associations? There are reports that Shefali Verma was actually training with the Haryana men's team. So she must have been in good touch. So what is the procedure that the selection committee is following? Are they have Do they have a clear idea, a vision, a roadmap that how these are the yardsticks that we are going to stick with? We don't see that. You can't just drop a player for a series and bring them back, and you drop another young player for the sake of it. You are damaging the confidence of each and every young cricketer there, and it's been happening for years. I generally don't talk about women's cricket much, but it's been happening for 2 3 years, and it struck me that why is it that every young cricketer, everywhere that I go, the same things have been talked about for 2 3 years. So it's about time the board and the bigwigs of the board took active interest in this.
Okay,
As
okay,
Kushan,
okay. I'll come to you, Oroni. Yash, taking off from what Oroni just said, let's give the two examples of Monica Patel and a C. Pratyusha. Two straight examples, two young girls, for absolutely no fault of theirs, find themselves in the limelight for wrong reasons. And I'm making this very, very clear that they find themselves in the limelight for wrong reasons for no fault of theirs. They were picked. Pratyusha got, I think, one game or two games, whatever it was, one game. And Monica Patel got a couple of games. Today they have been junked. What have you done to these girls? Why have you done what you've done? Are they doling out pension messages? What is the logic? And who takes accountability for the intangible damage that you have done to these girls, the kind of flack they are getting on social media, being 20-year-olds? Is it fair on them that what the selection committee has done to both of them? Yash Lahoti, your thoughts.
Uh, I don't think so that it is a right choice what has happened. But of course, you can't do anything to what has happened. This is not the first time. We've seen this in the past also, that there have been a lot of girls who have got, say, their maiden debut caps, or who have played 5 or 10 games and have never returned back. It's happening right from, say, Mithali Raj's debut game. She played with a cricketer, opened with her. That cricketer played well in the first match, never seen back. So this has been happening over the years, but with cricket being in so much limelight and a lot of people starting to watch women's cricket also, I think so. This is something that can be avoided. There needs to be a pathway structure in which, yes, you have played for the A side, you are good enough, then only you play for the senior team. Like, do not rush someone directly into the senior team, otherwise you're going to only dent their confidence. We've seen last year before the lockdown hit, Devika Vaidya and Sneha Rana, they captained the India A and emerging sides. They had at least 4 to 5 tours, including an emerging Asia Cup, which India won. So you need to pick players from them. You need to pick players like Devika Vaidya. You need to pick players like Yastika Bhatia and a lot of others who actually performed well on those tours and put them into the senior side, rather than just picking up someone who may have performed well in a club team and giving them their debut caps. It's going to only dent their confidence, and in the longer run, does not. Nobody is in a win-win situation. Everybody loses.
Okay. Hushan, if I can come to you, you just mentioned that Saurav Ganguly was there and took an active interest, which is absolutely correct, and the selection was correct, which is fine. But does Saurav Ganguly's responsibility end there? What about the careers of Pratyusha and Monica Patel? Have they been dented? Somebody has to own up to the responsibility. If W.V. Raman can be sacked and booted out, so will the selectors, now that the team is selected, everything is hunky-dory, all fine, they have redeemed their mistake, some youngsters have been terminally damaged, we will accept that and move on. Should the BCCI top brass take that kind of an attitude, or should there be more accountability from Ganguly, Shah, his team, and demanded of Neetu David and company? should something be done? Do you expect something be done, or are you okay with what has happened yesterday?
Actually, Boria, just before the show, I was discussing this with Aruni, and I was telling that it's high time that BCCI, like what you said, takes accountability. It's not just about giving them a cash reward of rupees 1 crore after every ICC final that they reach. You have to monitor them, and the monitoring starts right from the under 19 level. You have to create a solid under 19 structure from where you get the players. So that structure is still not in place. The under 19 structure, there is nothing called under 19. Like, you will be uh, uh, amazed to know, 2 or 3 years back, me, Oroni, and a few of our colleagues in Delhi cricket circuit, we were covering Ranji Trophy, and at the same point in time, there was an Delhi under 19 trials happening. There was a point in time, there were at least 15 bowlers who were there. I'm sorry. There were at least 10 There were at least 10 bowlers.
Yeah, go on.
There were at least 10. Yeah, there were at least 10 bowlers at a given point of time who couldn't even bowl a single delivery, one drop. They couldn't send it one drop across 22 yards, 18 yards. That was the case, and that was a Delhi under 19 selection trial going on. And this is something, because we cover Ranji Trophy, we go to the ground, where at that point in time, it was probably a lunch break, or I still don't remember, probably a lull phase. We went, chalo dekhte hain ki what's happening in the under 19 trials at the Kotla B. And this is what we saw. So this is a testimony that where the problem lies, the grassroots level is very weak. You cannot say that about India under 19 boys. You have some fantastic boys coming. You had a Karthik Tyagi who was one of the net bowlers on, probably would have made his debut if T Natarajan would have been unfit before the Brisbane
Okay.
Test match. So that is the
Okay.
kind of depth that Indian under 19 boys have.
So now, just to put one record straight, yesterday there was a former legend, and I don't want to name her. Yesterday also, I did not name her. Madam, I'm sure you're watching this show. I didn't name you yesterday out of respect, and I will do the same today. I will not name you, but sort of started reaching out to people, and I'm saying that on record, saying that I got my facts wrong. No, I didn't get my facts wrong, madam. You are trying to sort of portray not or incorrect information. I wouldn't want to use the word lies. Yash Lahoti is one who I cross checked with. Kushan Sarkar is one I cross checked with. I cross checked with several people whether Monica Patel plays for a certain club in Bangalore called Falcon, and the result is yes. And that is why we put out that fact. We will put out evidence that she does play for Falcon, unlike what you have claimed yesterday in your correspondence with certain people. Trisha, can we have those slides which prove Monica Chellaram Patel playing for Falcon, as early as the last few games? So let's have it clear. Monica Patel, for no reason, is in the limelight because she was fast tracked into the Indian team for whatever reason people thought. Uh, and now the flack is coming to her. Was she picked because she plays? And take a look at it. Take a look at it. Women cricketers, and look at the club. Falcon cricketers, 101 for 4, 13.4 overs. And if you take a look at the man of the match is Monica C. Patel. So, ma'am, we do know our facts. Again, please check Falcons cricketers, Cosmic Cricket Academy, and if you take a look below that, look at the man of the match. It is Monica C. Patel. So that's enough, Trisha. That's enough. Now the fact is, ma'am, we do know our facts. We are clearly putting out facts here. The selectors got it wrong. There is a cabal going on in Indian cricket, and this is an unholy cabal. We will break that cabal. The job of the media is to ask you questions. And let me say this clear on my show. You know who I'm talking about. You want to come on my show and face my questions? Welcome. Please come. And I will show you utter respect. I will ask you the questions. Please answer the questions. You want to come? Do not send messages about me saying I'm getting hostile, I'm asking this question, I don't know my facts. I do know my facts. So please come. You are welcome to come and challenge me on a public platform if you think I'm making mistakes. Shafali Verma was dropped because it was said she drops catches, is a bad fielder. Uh, Shikha Pandey was dropped because it was said she's overweight and is unfit. Tanya Bhatia because she doesn't score. I can keep going on and on, man. So you want to take me on? Come on this public platform or any public platform of your choice. I will come and take me on. Do not send messages behind my back because I will expose you. Oroni, coming to you, and very important. Do you believe, based on W.V. Raman's letter, is there an unholy cabal? Are former cricketers influencing? Are people controlling the selection committee? Is it what we are seeing, what Kushan said, because of Saurav and BCCI influence, things got streamlined? Are you seeing unfair things going on in the women's cricket domain?
There have been influences, and see, there have been influences in men's cricket as well, but they don't push names for the sake of it, for reasons which don't merit a selection. There have been influencers who have, and this has been going on for few years. Even these girls who are even in this team have faced this. They are they are always on tenterhooks that they would be dropped. If Shefali Verma, let me clear one thing about Shefali Verma. She made her India debut when she was barely 16. She had very little formal coaching at that time. She coming from Haryana. She is a trailblazer. You have to work with her. If she is not up to the mark, if you feel she is not up to the mark, you better work with her. You just don't dump her when she's 17. When she had taken the team almost single-handedly to a World Cup final. She was hitting sixes in MCG, almost uh, which is very difficult for men's cricketer, and she
Yeah.
was doing it with so much ease. So, what's your? How do you say? Do you have a roadmap for that? You just don't dump cricketers because some influencers former cricketers come and say we have the experience, we understand a player's potential, and you see this girl has you that former cricketer comes and points out some flaws in the player who is currently playing with the Indian team, and you just shun her. That is so unfair on that little girl, Shefali Verma. I understand Shefali Verma and Risha Ghosh had been labeled as T20 specialists. That they can just they believe in hitting the ball hard, nothing else. Then you better work with her. No, had Saurav Ganguly had the same attitude towards Virender Sehwag, we would not have had Virender Sehwag the Test opener. So
Okay,
you
let me
work with
let me take
Shefali.
that to Yash. Let me take that to Yash.
Yeah.
Yash, I could have asked Oroni about the same as well, but you take this. Shafali Verma overweight or unfit or whatever it is. Rishabh Pant was also after the IPL in 2020 overweight. Saurav Ganguly and the BCCI, and frankly, he was told. Kushan was telling me yesterday about some 10 kilo weight loss or 12 kilo, something like that. The Indian team worked on Rishabh Pant. Today, let's put it on record. Rishabh Pant is one of India's biggest match winners in the world. Rishabh Pant is a gem, right? We all know that. We accept it today. Why wasn't the same done for Shafali Verma? Why Shafali Verma was booted out? And I'm glad Shafali Verma does have protection. Kushan was telling me today, former BCCI office bearer Anirudh Chaudhary supports Shafali Verma. And good on Anirudh. Good on Anirudh that he supports Shafali Verma. Thank God there is some kind of protection at least. But coming to the Rishabh Pant Shafali Verma comparison, what does that tell you about the vision of the women's selection committee and the women's cricketing domain? Yash Lahoti.
It's certainly bad because if you feel so, if you've seen Shafali Verma say 3 years back when she actually started with the women's T20 challenge, she had a fabulous domestic season, and on those lines, she was selected in the women's T20 challenge. Thereafter, made her debut against West Indies, and of course, her career has skyrocketed since then. I think so. She's lost a lot of kilos in those last 2 years. The Shefali Verma, which was 2 years back, she's lost a lot of kilos. And if you still want her to lose more weight, more important is that you inform her that yes, we are sending you with the team, but you may not start in the 11, but what you have to do, your target in the next 1 month, in the next 2 months, in a few weeks, whatever it is. I'm not an expert in those things, but yeah, your target should be this, that you have to lose it in this way. There have to be proper charts prepared and everything. She's your biggest match winner by far. She's someone who can just close out a T20 game in 5 overs, and the other team is immediately going to be on back foot. All in the WBBL and the 100 are eyeing for Shefali Verma. So if the Australians and the English people are understanding the importance, the value of Shefali Verma, I think so. The BCCI, the selection committee, and each and everyone, including us, we also need to understand the kind of talent that we have, and we need to groom that talent rather than asking the talent to just sit out at home and say potentially take care of herself or take rest. No, she does not need rest. What she needs is proper guidance. A 17-year-old needs a proper guidance so that she can actually flourish in the years to come.
Okay.
She still has at least a 15 plus year career left.
Okay. Kushan, let me take the question to you about Shikha Pandey and Tanya Bhatia. Now, Shikha Pandey was dropped. All of us said this is unfair, and it was unfair. We did not even have a fast bowler to go to against South Africa. Monica wasn't even played because the team had no confidence, and we've seen that. When Jhulan Goswami got injured, India did not even field a fast bowler. One time they had Mansi Joshi, one time they had nobody. And
Monica
Lizelle
played a
Lee,
match. I believe Monica played a match.
one match. Yeah, that's what I'm
One
saying.
match.
But after that, when Jhulan got injured, didn't play, we were all over the place. Yeah, I was actually on Yash Lahoti's show that afternoon. We got 268 or 270, and Lizelle Lee and Lara Woolward just finished it off. So my point is, Shikha Pandey was dropped, and if you take a look at her domestic season, modest, nothing sensational or extraordinary, modestly good. So clearly, or Tanya. So clearly, what will they now think? Why were they dropped? Why have they been brought back? What was their fault? Have they been communicated? Anything from what I know, who knows? What are your thoughts? Are we doing justice to our players by doing these things? Shikha, Tanya, Shefali, all of a sudden, Shefali was not good enough for 50 over cricket. Today, she is part of the test team also. So, what is the vision? What is the vision, Kushan? What are you thinking?
At least as far as selectors are concerned, I don't think there is any vision, because you spoke about Shikha and Tanya Bhatia. Let me give you an example. In this category also lies Richa Ghosh, who is, I believe, is an extremely talented cricketer, a very hard-hitting batter. Now, Richa Ghosh's state coach, under whom Richa Ghosh trains for the maximum time at the Cricket Academy in Kalyani, is former Bengal pacer and a very good friend of mine, SS Paul, Shiv Shankar Paul, or Mako as we call him. East zone selector is Mithu Mukherjee. Now, can't Mithu Mukherjee get an honest feedback from Shiv Shankar Pal about Richa Ghosh's progress? Because the CAB arranged for a 3.5 month camp for the Bengal women cricketers. During the lockdown, before the South Africa series, they were there. So what was Richa Ghosh's progress? Did Mithu Mukherjee do that? I doubt she did that. So this is the kind of homework that we see from the national selectors. So what exactly are you going to expect? I don't think that Shiv Shankar Paul was ever consulted about the progress of Richa Ghosh, because Shiv Shankar is in charge of Richa Ghosh, Deepti Sharma. These are the two players who are playing for Bengal. And Deepti, obviously, you don't need, because Deepti is one of the main cricketers right now. But Richa, you could have always asked Shiv Shankar Pal, who is a fine coach.
Okay. Oroni, the same question, taking off from what Kushan was talking about. So Shikha Pandey, now there is so much limelight on Shikha Pandey, as if Shikha Pandey is the answer, like the Aladdin lamp that India will now want. Imagine the kind of pressure she will be under. When she bowls with Jhulan Goswami, all of a sudden we are like, Shikha Pandey has to be brought back. Does anybody need this? Does a Tanya Bhatia, who's also a young girl, does she need this? Are we doing justice to our players? Is there any process? Did someone explain to them? You guys are well connected journalists. Yash Lahoti is actually a friend of Tanya Bhatia's. I will ask him, did anybody tell her why she was dropped and why she was brought back? And if not, what is this message that is going out to upcoming cricketers? And if I know right, Tanya Bhatia was batted between 1 and 11, all spots, in the limited career that she has played. I follow less maybe compared to you guys, but this is something that I have followed. So Oroni, your thoughts about what is the way forward, and what Are you happy with the Saurav Ganguly BCCI in the sense, do you want Saurav was there yesterday and thank goodness for that. But does it stop there or do you want Saurav to do more?
So it's I'm glad that the board has woken up to what's happening in women's cricket, actually taking active interest there. But the England tour should not be about just making a point. It should not be about Neetu David waiting for players like Sikha Pandey to fail there and say that, see, I called it. I called it beforehand. It should not be like that. This team does not guarantee results, but this is your best bet. You have to stick with players. You cannot have there was one instance when during the Asia Cup in 2018 when Rohit Sharma in press conference said you cannot be chopping changing the middle order so much. There will be insecure players. Now you are having Shikha Pandey and such an experienced player going to a tour with so much of expectations and so much of she needs to prove herself right. This is unwarranted. This is unfair on her because you don't want your senior player to go into a major tour feeling that pressure carrying. You want her to be feeling that she's part of the system, she is accepted there. There cannot be a sword hanging over each and every player. So that has to be sorted out with the selectors, that you have to give the players some run there. You cannot just if they do not perform, you just cannot say that the selectors just cannot come out and say that, see, we told you so, that she is done, she was not ready. So that
Okay.
has, you have to give them that breathing space.
Okay. Yash, specific question on Tanya Bhatia. Am I right? With her batting order, she's been shunted up, down, everywhere. Give me a honest answer about Tanya Bhatia. Did you speak to her yesterday? Put it on record. If you did not put that on record, what has anybody spoken to Tanya Bhatia? Why was she dropped against South Africa? Why has she been brought back? Any ideas?
So my study says that when you chop and change a player so much that she's, as you rightly told, that she's basically played at every number in her limited international career. She's only made her debut after the 2017 World Cup, so she's very young in that way. And if you see in that limited career, if she's so much chopped and changed, it you do not know necessarily what your role is. So you don't know whether you are going to open the batting, whether you want to play at seven. You have to be aggressive. You want to be in the anchor's role. What exactly are you going to do? And it's not only Tanya; it's basically any player. I'm sure that what has happened with, say, Sikha Pandey, what has happened with Neetu David, all these players will want to make it a point that yes, we want to do well. Each and every one, not only the players who have been dropped and selected back, but all the players who even were consistent. So players who played against South Africa and players who are playing right now, they will have at the back of their mind that yes, this is kind of their debut game, and it's kind of a perform or perish kind of a thing, which should not happen. You need to tell the players, you need to go and give that confidence to players that okay, listen, you are the team which is going to play the New Zealand World Cup. This is the team that's going to play the New Zealand World Cup. You have selected a 21 member squad. There will be, say, two players added because ICC has apparently put 23 members for the upcoming two World Cups. So yes, this is that 23 member team. You are going to play the next 10 months. We are going to give you full freedom, and that is how a player will perform well. If you
Okay.
just say to them that you have one series, if you perform well, you're going to be there in the next series. If you don't, you're going to be out. That kind of messaging needs to stop. You need to give confidence to the players that yes, you're going to do well.
Okay, Ushan, my time is up, so I'll give you the last word and close. So one of the selectors is on record apparently in the last selection meeting to have said that, अरे हम तो इनको देख लिया last 2-3 साल अभी सब change कर देते हैं because but I mean this is the most bizarre statement that we have seen these two. So Virat, Rohit, Bumrah, they have played for India for 6, 7, 8 years. अब जाओ भाई बाहर जाओ. Let's get some new boys. Australian team, whether it is a Mooney, Lanning, Healy, Gardner, Haynes, the whole team, Jonathan, etc. You've played for 7, 8 years, now you get out. Let's get some new. What is this nonsense? I mean, and a selector apparently has said it. It is part, and I can vouch, having spoken to multiple people in the know. They wanted to drop a Jhulan Goswami, by the way. I'm putting that on record as well. So, your thoughts on that? These people picking the Indian team, the Indian national team.
Like, you want to drop Jhulan? Fine, go ahead and do it at your own peril. But please tell us that who is the replacement, and have you devoted enough time to prepare a replacement? I think the selector who said this should have a crash course with India's bowling coach Bharat Arun on how to prepare a pack, how to groom fast bowlers, how to prepare a team. What we see now with the Indian fast bowling unit didn't appear in one day, as Ravi Shastri or Virat or anyone who comes and speaks to the media tells you it happened over a period of 5 years. So at least 4 to 5 years is what it takes. So if you're telling that just rotate players, that means basically you don't want players to settle down, and that reeks of some kind of something that probably I am also not very comfortable that that players will be insecure, and some people who are deciding the fate of the players are happy that they remain insecure as they play for India, and every second match they will be dropped. And here we have a BCCI president who went to Virender Sehwag's room and told him that whatever people tell you, whatever the media takes you to the cleaners, next 10 test matches you are going to open for India, and the rest was history. So I believe that some things will be set in order very soon.
Okay, so on behalf of this platform, Kushan, Oroni, Yash, myself, and a host of other journalists, and for once I'll name them, whether it is a Srinivas Rao from Times of India with the Twitter thread, whether it is an Oroni Basu writing, whether it is a Venkat Krishna, whether it is a Neetu Bhatia, whether it is anybody. If you see from yesterday, the entire media fraternity, the sports media fraternity has come forward and exposed the rot systematically. Everyone, and all of us are together. We might have internal differences, arguments, whatever we can have, but trust you me, each one of us want the betterment of Indian cricket. And that is why the sports media came together like the way they did yesterday. A request to Saurav, a request to Jai, a request to the board. For a long time, MSK Prasad and his selection committee fielded questions. Why don't you allow a Neetu David, a Kalpana, an Arti Vaidya, a Mithudi to come and field some questions from us? If they have answers about what happened in the South Africa selection, if they can justifiably explain to us, each one of us will keep quiet and silent. We would love a BCCI prompted interaction with the Indian selection committee chaired by Neetu David, because unfortunately at this point in time, they are behind the veil of the board, which is acting as a protective shield for incompetence. So on that note, Saurav, if you are listening, Jai, if you are listening, yes, you got your house in order by being present there, but please, for the sake of transparency and accountability, let us talk to the CSE. Let us talk to a Madan Lal and Sulakshana Naik. Let us talk to a Neetu David and her team, because questions will be asked. The cabal will be broken. We on Sports Today and all these platforms, each of these guys are accomplished journalists. We will continue to ask these questions. Thank you very much for watching. The show goes on, and so will our probe and our inquiry. The problem with women's cricket is now there is attention, and believe me, with attention, there will be people like us who will ask the questions. Some years back, there was no attention. Things could be wrapped under the carpet. No longer. You want the limelight, you take the brickbats, because the brickbats will come with it. Any kind of nonsense that is done will be exposed. Thank you very much for watching.